It is Stephen Davids here, and in this video I will show you how to work with cement level posts, concrete level posts, also when you work with a fence. The problem I had was that these things are relatively heavy, and how do I then move them around to level them, to adjust them for the panel fences, and this is then the way I will address it. Things is that working with the poles are very important, and positioning them, because if the poles are not planted correctly, the panels may fall out later. Some panels will not fit, and as the saying goes, measure twice, cut once. This applies here also. Helpers are very important because from the poles and the panels are relatively heavy or difficult for one person to carry and carry around and to use. So therefore have a helper. It's better for two people to carry it. So to note that you do need gloves if you're not used to working with it, but gloves is a very good thing to cover your hands for any small injuries that you can get. Plant poles in a straight line. This is only a half truth, because you do not need only things to be in a straight line. You also need the poles to be at the same height. To put poles in a straight line, just use rods or sticks at the end, and then you use a builder's line to connect it and plant the poles in that line. To have the few poles in a straight line and at the straight height, the same height, this is more important for you. The highest pole and the lowest pole with builder's line on top, and then this will align the heights of the pole. Run builder's line on the side to keep it at same in a straight line. How do you do to check if a few posts are at the same height? 2 or 3 posts, you choose your spirit level, and then you just if it's spirit level too small, of course you just use a long plank or to put on top, and then you can see if it's level. One pole will be level with the other one. If the poles are a little bit further apart, you just use maybe around 15 meters or so, use a string line level that you attach to the string. Also put the line more close to the bottom, to the surface, maybe at the height of your first panel. You just put the builder's line then with a string level, small string level between the 2 points. If the line or the section that you need to measure is very far, just first break it into a manageable part, the first part, and then level that so that the line do not sag. Add another section, the line section with a pole, so that you can have a long line that is level, and you then level it piece by piece. All you then do is that you add the poles and adjust them to the marks, the top mark of the pole. The top mark of the pole you align then with your leveled cutter's line, or not cutter's line, the builder's line. Sometimes somebody use fish gut also here. The line that you add there, you just simply adjust the top of the mark to that line. A nice to have thing for leveling the poles, especially if it's far or sometimes even around the corner, is a water level tool. You can read a lot about it, but this is a really simple tool, not too expensive if you compare the digital tools. Now, to plant a single pole to the correct height, everything starts before the planting. You can't put a heavy object in any type of hole and then expect wonders to happen. Things start at the beginning. First thing is you plant and dig the hole to the correct size. You can use a jig for this. If the hole is to the correct depth, you already have achieved a lot. In this case, the jig is, I need to dig the hole in 50 centimeters, so I make the jig 60 centimeter. Before you plant the hole, you make sure that the distance between your boulder's line and the bottom of the hole, it is slightly longer than the distance that you measured out at your post or your pole, the top of where the top of the first panel come. The distance must be slightly longer, and as I said previously, I budgeted for 10 centimeters more. The reason is that you put a little bit of concrete in the hole first. This will help you to adjust the height of the pole slightly if and when you need it later on. The best way to put the pole in the hole, before we continue with how to adjust the pole in the hole, let us focus on how to put the pole inside the hole. Is to slide the pole parallel to the boulder's line, and you slide it in close to the edge. In fact, you slide it in against the panel. Remember, you put in the concrete at the bottom, just at the bottom. Now you slide in at the side the pole, bring the pole in, and then when it slides against the end of that panel, it will, as you push it, it will come upright. Now you have it then at a leveled distance. So you start with that. The fact is now you will have now to get the correct height of the pole. And for getting the correct height of the pole, you must know how to move the post inside the hole. Use a crowbar. Crowbar, as the saying goes, crowbar, you can move a long enough crowbar and I will move the world. The crowbar you move at the bottom of the pole. The reason is if you do not use the crowbar at the bottom of the pole, you do not move the pole itself, but you just tilt the pole. If you try to level the pole, and that you get with the problem that the distance is not correct between the poles. So remember, do not tilt the pole when you move the pole. You move the pole itself at the bottom when you try to get the distance as well as when you try to level it. It is a very good idea to get two types of crowbars on site. The one is a bigger crowbar that maybe you can use someone, if you have an assistant, to move it around with for you. The other one is a smaller crowbar. Of course, it is longer than this one. I just use this for the purposes of illustration, but the fact of the matter is you must be able to use it with one hand. It will be better for you. Now, how do you slightly adjust the height of the single pole after it is planted? Remember, the height is Whilst it is important, it is of individual taste, because you do not do very fine work. It is work for outside, so there must be a tolerance. It doesn't need to be exactly on the line, but it mustn't be too much outside. So I accept a tolerance level of 5 mm below or above. The pole is slightly too high for you, then all you do is you slide the pole slightly out of its current position, just slightly to the side. Don't use it so much, because the reason why you need to slide it out is because there's a groove. The pole is inside with a groove, and you just try to remove the pole out of the groove. And when slightly out of the groove, just enough out of the groove, you start moving it in a sort of a drilling direction, one side to the other side. In the drilling direction is to try and make a slight sort of hole in that spot. And when you have an enough slightly deeper spot, you just put it back and then you measure again. Remember, you do not work with absolute millimeter perfection accurately, but it can't be too wide. There must be, you do need a tolerance, and outside that tolerance level, you can't go. So then you repeat this if necessary. Way to handle a pole that is slightly too high, you just hit it off, lift it, and then slightly sort of drop it, sort of a heating effect, until you have that correct height, and this you repeat if and when necessary. If the pole is slightly too low, far too low for your measurements, all you do is then you lift the pole while you force more concrete underneath the pole with a piece of wood, and you then repeat this process. Drop the pole, see if it's high enough, not enough, high enough, a little bit more concrete, and stabilize the concrete with a piece of wood. Now, how to get the correct distance between the posts for the panels to fit? The best method is then to insert first and the last post first, and then insert the panel, and then put in the pole as in the way I described it now, parallel to the cut line, and then move it in, force it in. Insert a panel, and then force the pole into it, and the panel into the groove pole. That is the best and the easiest way to get the correct distance between the panels, between the poles. You can also then check the top of the space to see if the stop space is correct, and then you simply move out the board or the plank that you put in. So then you can be quite sure that the space, you already leveled the poles. Both poles are leveled. The distance you assured with the bottom panel now just come as an additional thing with a top plank that is the same height. That's more. I don't really want to over secure. You can also take a measurement, use a measuring tape, and measure at the bottom and measure at the top. So you just make two measurements, and if they are correct, they must be correct, then poles are correctly planted. How now to vertically straighten a single. You use a post level. A post level is basically the best and the easiest way to use. It's not too expensive. It is worth the money and the effort, because then you simply level the one side and then the other side. Remember to use a rubber band to attach the post level to the post itself, around the post, because it will give you a hand free that you can use. You can also use the old trusted spirit level, which is not a problem. It just means you have to move it twice. If you want to, you can also use a plumb line, but I do not really think, for me, it is not necessary. But should you want to, as an additional thing, it depends on you. Now, how to stabilize the posts to dry. As I found for stabilizing the post while it dries is just to use a few bricks, and you put it in and force it in at the bottom, and these bricks are enough to stabilize the post. In these cases, it's not even necessary to have a long stabilizer wood planks. However, if you really want to, you can also use planks that support the poles to stabilize it. Now, you must remember that if you plant the panel and then the post, an additional support for the pole is namely the panels, which serves then as additional supports together with the bricks down under, as well as the planks. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have constructive comments and criticism, please like and share this video. Please subscribe.